Tycoon simulators became very big during the 90s, and their popularity stayed high until the mid-2000s. With this time period, an interesting subgenre came to the forefront: amusement park construction simulators. This was primarily thanks to the talent of the many teams that were behind the famous Rollercoaster Tycoon series. The folks over at the studio of Frontier worked on the series for a short time before passing the baton. After what feels like eons, the team has finally delivered what can pretty much be considered a spiritual successor to the Rollercoaster Tycoon series, Planet Coaster. Does this new generation park sim live up to the high standard of the classic? Just like every amusement park simulator before it, Planet Coaster puts you in the shoes of a tycoon mastermind. You have full control over what goes on in your park. You pick the rides, the attractions, the shops, the staff, just about everything is at your control. You can even design the scenery of your park down to the T, thus allowing your imagination to basically run wild. When I first laid eyes on Planet Coaster a few months ago, a surge of excitement rushed through me. My mind almost immediately ran on all the wonderful memories of playing Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 when I was younger, which Frontier happened to develop. If you were also a fan, then I'm happy to report that your past memories can finally get a modern day upgrade. Planet Coaster is basically RT3 on steroids. It feels very similar, yet new and fresh at the same time. The formula is basically the same, so getting used to it will not take very long at all. Even if you've never laid hands on an amusement park sim before, it will only be a short period of time before you learn the ropes. The game does a good job at easing you into the experience while giving you quite a bit of freedom to play around with it and find things out for yourself. Interestingly enough, the developers have decided to forego the traditional in-game tutorials in favor of using the power of the internet to provide you immediate access to short tutorial videos which explain the game's main features. Essentially, you don't really have a choice but to jump into the game and learn things on your own. Because this is not really a difficult game, I actually don't see this as being much of an issue. The game features a lot of pre-made assets, which basically gives you a fast pass to setting up your park. If you're feeling creative, you can then take matters into your own hands and design creations of your own, whether that be a coaster or the entire landscape of your park. The choice is up to you. Ultimately, your number one goal is to keep guests happy enough so that the entire park is generating money. This means taking care of tasks like making sure that the rides are operational, the surroundings are clean, and even down to the point where you need to make sure that you have enough toilets for everyone. The world really does feel realistic and alive, which sends the immersion factor through the roof. As you would expect from a game like this, you have the choice of jumping into a set of challenges or designing your own park from scratch. No matter what path you choose, you're bound to have fun. I found that getting into the challenges first will give you a chance to hone your skills, which will then help you out if you decide to start your own park afterward. Thanks to the large Steam community, you can even connect with other players and share your creations. This is done by means of the Steam Workshop, which allows you to view different users' creations and add them to the game as a blueprint, allowing you to spice up your own park with their structure. This is a feature that was not available during the early Rollercoaster Tycoon era, so it's very nice to have that now. While Planet Coaster's gameplay structure is similar to that of its spiritual predecessor, where it is noticeably different is in the presentation department. The hybrid mixture of cartoony and realistic styles have made a return here in Planet Coaster, however the visual flair and charm has been cranked up to 11. The game benefits greatly from modern graphics engines, resulting in a title that's bursting at the seams with drop-dead gorgeous effects and a Pixar level of color. There really isn't one ugly sight to be seen here, it's all very pleasant to look at. In addition to the great visuals, the game's soundtrack is also top-notch. As soon as you launch the game, you're met with a charming tune that gradually ascends in depth as you move through the menus, before coming together into a beautiful symphony by the time you arrive at the loading screen to get into the game. Finally, it ends on cue as soon as the game loads up, as if it were a live performance. That is what you call attention to detail. I don't really have much to complain about when it comes to Planet Coaster. The game feels like an upgraded version of Rollercoaster Tycoon 3, which was already a pretty good game to begin with. The gameplay has received a few tweaks to make the experience smoother, with some brand new features like online sharing. The visuals are simply gorgeous, and the soundtrack is a delight to listen to. The amount of effort put into this game is evident as soon as you start it up. That's when you know it's real. Even if you've never played an amusement park simulator, I would highly recommend you check out Frontier's Planet Coaster.